could tell me your name, please.
Margot Griffin.
And you are a calligraphy artist.
Yes. I'm a calligrapher, but I also dabble in other art forms, primarily watercolor and paper cutting.
So did you go to school for it, or is it just a skill set?
I did actually. I was an art major, studio art, oil painting focus, and architecture minor, but I liked art and I hated writing papers. I didn't want to be a commercial artist at all. And so when I graduated, I started sailing on big, tall ships and figured that would lead to something else. And only recently have I started working as an artist, but calligraphy kind of got me comfortable with selling art. And now I do a little bit more original stuff and kind of blend calligraphy and visual art.
Were you ever interested in studying graphic design? Because it's a lot of the same skill sets.
It is, yeah, and it's definitely convenient, but I spend so much time staring at a screen anyway. And at this point, if I wanted to be handier with the computer stuff, I'd have to make a huge investment and spend more time at a computer. And at this point, I know how to do a few things, and I'd rather just outsource the rest.
Yeah.
But the font for calligraphy, it definitely, I have a pretty natural sense for layout and design, but definitely studying like a font course would be helpful, but I never did.
Yeah. But so have you come up with your own calligraphic?
Yeah, I have a couple styles, mostly in modern calligraphy, which is usually more script and a pointed pen nib. Traditional broad edge, you can't really, you have to follow a traditional one, but basically you can make up any alphabet and you just have to be consistent, and then every time you do the letter A, it needs to look like your master one.
Wow.
So I could.
And so I guess have other people become interested in your fonts?
There's people that like a certain style of writing I do that if you compared it with another calligraphers would be similar but not exactly the same, but I haven't really tried to build my own separate identities. It's more just, practicing a lot of things and knowing what fits with what piece. You have to match the mood, and then even in calligraphy it's, there's a variety of mediums, and so knowing what material, what nib to use, there's a whole lot to play with.
And what would you say somewhat specifically led you to become submerged in calligraphy?
I've always had good handwriting, so I did posters and I would doodle block letters. It's pretty easy for me. I studied architecture, so doing that print alphabet, I would be the one chosen to letter a poster, and I would use that, but I don't really remember what lit the spark. Part of it was work. It's hard. I'm not interested in creating something for fun and then trying to sell it and make a living off that. So it's nice to have a goal, like some instructions. I like usable art, so functional art, but also the wedding industry is kind of what I still work in, but thought, oh, this is smart because people are always using it. I live on a tiny island, and you don't want to, ask the same people to buy your stuff over and over, but people are always coming to Key West to get married, and that kind of got me in the door.
So being in the wedding industry, is that through some vendors, wedding planners, or is it all just online?
I have 2 wedding planners that make life much easier for me, and also venues. We have a lot of historic venues in Key West where people get married. There's 3 weddings a week. Wow. So building connections, and I like history, and so working with historic properties that have character, is kind of being able to offer something special to their guests. That's kind of where I've been going. But yeah, people find me randomly online, or they see cards of mine in a gallery and then say, oh, will you write this for us? I'm practicing Hebrew calligraphy right now so I can do ketubas, and I like doing children's stuff, like for nurseries. Yeah. So I like, being a part of those special occasions.
So it seems that you as an artist have succeeded in bridging that gap between being an artist and making a living to a very kind of specific function within the marketplace.
Yeah, that's what I'm working toward. I also work as an eco-tour. I have been working as an eco-tour guide, doing kayaks and paddleboards and sailing half the day, and I think that having the pressure off that I'm not a full-time artist and my hands couldn't draw all day, that helps too, and kind of taking a step outside in nature, doing something totally different, and then coming back to my studio that's been a good blend. But yeah, so far I'm a functioning half-time artist.
That's cool. What advice would you have for other artists who are trying to succeed at that better, I guess, bridge that gap between...
Practice, a lot of practice, and you know, if you haven't taken formal classes, then just studying on your own, reading, trying other styles until you kind of figure out what you like. There's so many different ways to be creative, but I think practice. I teach calligraphy and people get frustrated that they aren't good immediately.
I mean, I remember calligraphy class in school, and
it's hard. You have to train your muscles, you have to train your brain. So I think, you know, people just can't get discouraged. They've got to keep at it.
Sure. So as far as artist residencies, how many other have you gone before?
This is it.
This is the first one?
Yeah.
That's cool.
My best friend was visiting, and she found a different, shorter one online with these cabins that during the week when they're not rented, they use for artists in exchange for content. So I signed up and got one of those, and then I thought, somewhere in Key West is miserable. Maybe I can do this somewhere else and really have time to work on something. And I just searched a database, and I found Azul. And
very cool.
Yeah.
Is there a specific project or thing that led you to want to?
I wanted to go somewhere quiet because Key West, and especially my place, is not, so it's very distracting. But yeah, I just wanted to be able to focus on kind of my own art. I didn't have any calligraphy commissions lined up, so I came here thinking, you know, I'll practice the skills that I want to build, watercolor and paper cutting, and see what the other artists are doing and, you know, what projects are ongoing. Maybe someone left something unfinished and I would be inspired to pick it up. So I just came in with a really open mind.
Oh, cool.
And no schedule.
Yeah, so it was like a process of replenishing the creative.
Yeah, a little bit. Just having a nice, you know, there's nothing else I have to do all day. I've been baking, but I don't have to run errands. I don't have to walk my dog. You know, it's just kind of removed from that for 2 weeks is a good amount of time.
Oh yeah. And how has your experience at Azul been?
It's been wonderful. It's beautiful out here. I love that the spring is rushing in the background when I go outside. The light is amazing. The fact that there aren't buses and leaf blowers outside all the time. And it's nice to have the other artists to talk to as well. It's been really interesting.
That's very cool. And do you have any final thoughts about any of this?
I'm glad it's here. I'm glad to be part of something that other people have done as well and join the family and the community around. Yeah, it's just thank you for this opportunity.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Margot.
You're welcome.
Yeah.